Okay, welcome to the grade 9 practice exam walkthrough. Now, this is going to be quite similar to the actual exam, so it's good to pay attention to all the ideas discussed. I'm going to try and work through this as quick as possible. Okay, so this is the vertex form. This will already give you an idea of what is the vertex form of a quadratic equation. You're going to have a, which is any number, multiplied by x minus h all squared plus k. All you need to know is h and k represent the coordinates of the vertex, the x and y. Okay, so that would be not this, that would be not this, it would be c, the coordinates of the vertex. Alright, next. We have, which transformation would move a parabola 5 units down? Okay, quite simple. If we're talking about up and down, vertical, it needs to be outside of the x squared. If it's down, it's going to be negative x squared minus 5. Okay, next. Factor x squared plus 7x plus 6. Great. So two numbers that add to get 7 and multiply to get positive 6. Already I can think of 3 and 2, but those add to make 5. What about 6 times 1? 6 times 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So we know it's going to be 6 and 1. So x plus 1, x plus 6 would be the answer. Easy. Next. The maximum or minimum value of a quadratic function occurs at, of course, the vertex. The vertex. If it were positive, it would look like this. Here would be your vertex at the maximum. And let's mix things up. Let's put the vertex on this side. This would be the minimum, and it will also be the vertex. Okay, next. The graph of y equals x minus 9 squared is a transformation of y equals x squared that is, now it's inside the bracket, it's going to be horizontal, left or right. If it's negative, it's going to be right. 9 units right. Easy. Okay, next. What is the standard form of a quadratic equation? You just need to memorize this. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now we know c is going to be a number, b is going to be a number, and a is going to be a number. But the x squared and the x would stay the same if there was a value for each. Okay. What is the axis of symmetry for the following equation? You need to know an equation or a formula in order to find this out for the x coordinate. Now, here's a way to quote unquote cheat. We look at another question and we look for the equation for the axis. Oh, here we go. This should jog our memory. So here the answer is minus b over 2a. The formula for finding the x coordinate of the vertex from a quadratic function. Now the x coordinate of the vertex is the same as the axis of symmetry. Yeah, so you would put x equals whatever the x value is. Now, using this information, minus b over 2a, we go back up. Go back up. Here we go. What's b? It's minus 4. So minus 4 divided by 2 times a. A is the number next to x squared times 5. Okay. What's the answer? 4 over 10, which is 2 over 5. Now the answer is not in the multiple choice. There must have been a mistake there, but the answer should be x equals either 2 over 5, or you could say x equals 0.4. Perfect. Alright, so that was not correct, and none of those are correct, but that's fine. Okay, which equation best represents the graph? It's a positive because it's a parabola that goes up like that. So we know it's not going to be this, and it's not going to be this. It can either be this one or this one. Now, why have I circled +4 and -4? -4 would move it to the right. +4 would move it in that direction. Now we know it's not there because it's positive. It's going to be at 4 and 2. And we can confirm that where 4 is the x coordinate of the vertex and 2 is the y coordinate. So A is the vertex form of this graph. Easy. Alright, next. Now, if the blue graph is f of x equals x squared, then the red one must be, so this is the blue one, it's moved up by 4. 4 needs to be outside, not inside, because inside would move it left or right. We want to go up. So this is the correct answer. G of x is equal to x squared plus 4, going up by 4. Easy. The minimum point of all of these graphs, you look at this point here, we can see it's clearly 2. Yeah, there's 3, there's 1, that's going to be 2. Is it x equals 2, y equals 2, 0, 0, 0, 1? Well, clearly this is the y-axis. We always know the vertical axis is the y-axis, so it's going to be y equals 2. Now the full coordinate would be 0, 2. If it was a full coordinate, but we just care about y for now. It's the y-intercept as well. Okay, solve by factoring. You don't need to factor, but it's fine. Let's factor. A good way to do this is square root of 64. So we know if we do x plus 8, x minus 8 equals 0, x is equals to 8, and it's also equal to minus 8. So these are our answers. Now, personally, I would prefer to do this using square roots, not by factoring, which would mean you take this to the other side, you add 64 on both sides, yeah, you end up with x squared is equal to 64 positive. Now square root that and square root that to get rid of the x squared. So it's x is equal to plus or minus 8, which basically means the answer is B. Okay? Yeah. How did I know it's going to be x plus 8, x minus 8 without doing any sort of, calculations or anything? There's a rule you learnt a long time ago, the difference of two squares. If you have two numbers that are squared with a minus in the middle, so this is a square number, 64, and x squared is obviously squared. So you just square root 64 and you put plus on one of them and minus on the other one. So both ways work. Now solve w squared plus 4y is equal to 16 by completing the square. Now if I wanted to cheat and just don't bother with anything or any sort of knowledge or calculation, I could just look, it says complete the square. It's so simple. So we know it's going to be A. This is factoring, so it doesn't work. This is useless information. There is a 4 next to W. What does that mean? Nothing. W is being squared. To complete it, just make it W equal 1, which is also gibberish, doesn't make any sense. Okay, in mathematical terms, makes no sense. But here, this one, if you want to learn how the math works, completing the square requires you to half the number next to the W and to square root this number. So you would have W plus 2 squared, because half of 4 is 2, and 4 on the other side, because you square root 16. Alright. Solve the following by graphing. I can see a root here. Now remember the word root. Those are the solutions. So solution is the same as